This is not a dream.
Hi, welcome to Dogman TP Hunting. This is the Friday Night Files. If you're listening to this, it'll be on the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. Can't really forget about that. Not the length for that title anyway. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Happy Friday to everybody. It's the weekend. Yeah, it's the weekend. And without too much of a delay, I'm going to bring up Natalie. Let's have a look. Hello.
Hello.
Greetings.
It amused me actually because you said without too much delay, but the intro cut off the well bit of your welcome.
Did it?
Yeah, because I was sitting there going 1, 2, 3, and then it was like, welcome.
Do you know what? It just I think the day the intro goes right, okay. It is the day when I think I'll just like, I'll probably just collapse.
Yeah. Yes.
It'll be just too much stress.
Thing.
Yeah, I'm quite used to it now, going a bit belly up, to be honest, the intro. I try and make it smooth, but it doesn't work anyway. But right, okay. So we have a guest which I am very, very, very lucky to have on. Ron Morehead has been known for decades for his worldwide research into the Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomenon. He is an author, researcher, lecturer, experiencer, and producer of the renowned Sierra Sounds. Today, he comes closer than any other researcher to having a complete body of evidence. The Sierra Sounds are the only Bigfoot recordings that have been scientifically studied, time-tested, and accredited as genuine. Ron has documented his personal interactions with these giant beings and produced his story on a CD and also in a book, Voices in the Wilderness. In order to try and understand the enigmas associated with these giants, he began to delve into quantum physics for the scientific answers that he and his hunting friends experienced. And as a result, he wrote another thought-provoking book, The Quantum Bigfoot. Still resolved to dig deeper for answers, Ron has produced another book, Bigfoot Unveiled. Ron now resides in Washington, but has traveled from Alaska to Patagonia and from North America to Siberia in search of the truth to how these beings are able to stay so hidden from classical science's radar. Besides being the keynote speaker at many conventions, he has been featured on countless radio programs and TV documentaries such as Learning Channel and the Travel Channel. Okay, We are very, very lucky to have Ron. I'm going to bring Ron up right this minute. Hello, Ron.
Well, hello. How are you today, Phil?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. It's all. To be honest, Ron, it was all a bit stressed, mate. At the end, it was all a bit stressed. I was like, oh, however much I try and think, just gonna calm her down, relax, it'll all chill.
Yeah.
Show will go fine. And then I got a message from Natalie saying, I'm coming on in 5 minutes. And then,
Oh.
I'm here. I'm here.
Well, I should have chimed in sooner. I guess I have to do this through my cell phone. But I was trying to do it on my PC, or my laptop, which is new, and haven't got everything formatted yet. So anyway, I'm here with you today. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Brilliant. No,
From across the pond.
Yeah. We're pleased to have you on, really are. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long, long time. You were almost an untouchable to me, to actually sort of get hold of. So I'm very, very lucky. I do feel genuinely lucky that you.
Oh, thank you, Phil. That's nice to say. Nice to hear you. Thank you.
That's fine. That's okay. How do you spend your time at the moment, Ron?
Well, right now I'm sitting in my room talking to you. I spend my time on podcasts like this. I get out as much as I can. Not in the woods as much as I used to be years ago, but I'm in my 80s now, and I just don't need to do that anymore. I've been quite a few places. I've been very fortunate in my life, and still am. I'm a very lucky man. Very fortunate to have the life that I've had, and I'm glad for it, and I'm glad it's brought me to where I am today. Being able to talk to folks like you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. You don't look in your 80s, mate. You really don't.
Well, thank you. Things do change, though.
Yeah.
Life itself is, well, anyway, I'm into physics where you don't die. You just change forms, so.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Do you know what? I can't wait to have a bit of a deeper dive on that. That's one of my specialties. That's one of my specialties. There. Yeah.
All right.
Like that. Yeah, I like that. Right. There was something I wanted to ask you just to kick this off, because we got a limited time. But I'm sure you haven't been asked this. Like, I don't know. Maybe this will be the 1,000th from 1 million. Who knows? But it's all to do with the Sierra sounds. Let's just have a quick chat on that. For the listeners who might only know Bigfoot as a myth, can you take us back to with the Sierra sounds, that hunting camp in the Sierras? What was the moment you realized, Ron, you gone dark, Ron? Haven't finished my question, Ron.
I wonder if it's the internet, because it's been a little bit shady the last 2 or 3 days.
It may be.
I was a bit worried about connectivity, or it's the new laptop.
Do you know?
There's always a risk when you start using new tech. It's
he's gone off at the moment, but I'm sure he'll come back on. I'm sure he'll come back on.
Yeah, because I was a bit worried about that, because my internet's been in and out for a couple of days, and I was thinking, it's been really slow.
Good phone calls.
Oh, was it?
It's phone calls. I'm on my cell phone with you.
Yeah.
And my phone keeps ringing, so I'm sorry. But,
it's okay.
One of my daughters, and I'll call her later. So, yeah, okay, where were we? 1971. Yeah.
If it's urgent, that's fine. If you've got to take a call urgently, me and Nat can kind of just have a chat, and you can take that call. How about that? Yeah.
Well, it's one of those calls that I need to talk a little bit, so we'll call her later when we get finished.
Okay then.
Call her back. Thank you.
No worries, mate. That's fine. Right. Sierra sounds. Okay. Right, for listeners at home, basically, What was the moment you realized that sounds you were recording weren't human and weren't known animals? The Sierra sounds were analyzed by university crypto linguists, evidently. What was the most shocking thing they discovered about the vocal range and speed of these creatures in their speech?
I think the most interesting thing was we knew they were talking to each other when we were recording them up there in the mountains, but for them to have actual language, which is only unique to humans, supposedly, was quite revealing. We found out through Professor Curlin's report, who's a PhD in electrical engineering. His study showed that they were outside the human range, represented something over 8 foot tall in one part anyway. And then the cryptolinguist who got a hold of them years later said that it is a language by the human definition of language, which had no real caring about that at the time, other than language we found out is extremely important. Of course, Dr. Lieberman at Brown University says only humans have the cognitive ability for human language like we have right now. Everything communicates like dolphins do, whales do, birds do, fish. Everything communicates in a certain way, whether through vibration or frequency or however, but everything communicates. But only humans, only humans have the ability to talk with a cognitive language like I'm talking now. And these things that we recorded, I ran into up in the mountains, have that ability. So that gives them a human component. And that's pretty much how I put the dots together. It started for me in 1971, and we started recording because we had repeated visits with these things in the mountains. And we went up there with tape recorders and started recording them. And thanks to Alan Berry, the investigative reporter that we took up there in 1972, he started experiencing the same thing. He was really looking for a hoax. He thought it was probably somebody pulling somebody's leg, but he experienced the same thing and ended up recording them. And he's the one who fostered the studies actually at the University of Wyoming. And Scott Nelson, the cryptolinguist, that got a hold of me years later, and I ran across the Dr. Lieberman statement, and that kind of. Plus, I've been around the world looking at different cultures who claim these things. So.
Ron, who was in that location? I know it's a secret location, which is fine, and that's a good thing. It's a secret location. But who was the first? How did you? Because you knew that there was, you knew about the Gimlin film. I take it.
Yes.
Okay, and you were interested in the theory that there could be a wild man, Bigfoot type creature in the woods. Yeah.
Really, I wasn't, Phil. I wasn't that interested in it. I'd heard that since I was a kid up in the Eureka where it was supposedly filmed by Gimlin. I know Bob now, and I've known him for years, and he's a good man, but that's all I knew. Is that the film, somebody said it was a wild Indian running around the woods, and that's all I knew at the time.
Was there a before your group went to this place in Sierra in the Sierra Mountains? Was that particular location known by somebody else, and the stories handed down?
Well, no. The Johnson brothers have been going up there since 1958, and they came out with a story about something coming into camp. It's about 8 miles into the wilderness. It's a really imposing place to get to. Once you get there, it's very serene. And they came out with a story, and the other hunters that hunted with them, which is 3 other guys, and I wasn't one of them at the time, but they went back up and started experiencing these things, and they came out. One of them got scared off. He just wouldn't stay up there through another night. He took off the next day after he heard these things, and very religious, very had their paradigms made up that monsters don't exist anymore. If they do, they're demons or something like that. So he ran out, and he came out, and the wives were all worried because the guys didn't come out behind him. They didn't come out the next day like they were supposed to. So they wanted him to go back and see if they were okay. At the time, they didn't know what they were dealing with. And well, actually, today we still don't know what we're dealing with. Just something very unusual. But they came out. He came out and said what the Johnson brothers saying is true. There's something. they said, well, you got to go back and see if they're okay, because they were all my friends. I knew them all, and I kind of was interested then. And Donald, the guy that came out, he said, I'll go back if you go back with me. So I went back with him. We walked in there, quite a trip. And we walked in, backpacked, and got there. The guys were okay, but that was my first entrance into this camp. And it wouldn't be my last for sure. I started going back because when I first got there, the guys were all packed up, ready to leave. They were just had spent an extra night. So he showed me. I seen tracks. I heard some sounds they'd recorded, because they went back with little cassette tape recorders and recorded them. And I started going after I got out. I started going back as often as I could get somebody to go back with me. And I just spent a lot of time up there, wondering what this is all about. All religious, we're all in the church and stuff like that, which not now, but we're all spiritual. Like it or not, we are spiritual beings carrying around a biological body. But anyway, I started searching the Bible, searching where giants came from, because these things are huge. Whatever they were, they left huge tracks, and obviously very big. So I didn't get very far with that. I only got to what we heard in the King James Version. So I started researching over the years. I researched and got back all the way into Mesopotamia, where the giants were supposedly came down, fallen. Well, you get the Sumerian text, you get into all this stuff like that, but it kind of took me away from not so much Bigfoot, but what they're all about, what we're here for, and what I got a bigger idea of why this all happened to us up there. And it's basically to bring me onto programs like this so I can talk about it to people. Whatever these things are that we encounter, they have a vocal mechanism much more expansive than what we have. They can reach frequencies that we can't reach. They do some very strange things. There's some very strange things going on up there, which we didn't talk about for a long time, because it's just way outside of our teaching, our paradigm that we had at the time.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just get us a bit more cozy. Hang on. There. Okay. I'm going to get us a bit more cozy like that. All right. So we're a bit more bunched up, because you were on the phone, Ron. So because you're on the phone, you're on a portrait sort of thing. So if I put us all on portrait, it's going to be a bit more even Stevens for people.
I feel very cozy now.
Yeah. When you were getting these vocalizations, this was what, 1971?
71 through 74, 76 actually, yeah.
Okay, right. Did you have in the camp at the time any realization that they were there other than the vocalization? Did you see?
Well, yeah, you hear their telltale signs. I mean, a big crack, or knew they were around. We'd sit out by the campfire until we heard something like that. Then we'd go inside the shelter, which we had, which we thought was our safety net. But we all had firearms. But it was a hunting camp, and didn't know what we're dealing with. So you didn't know if you were going to shoot your way out of something or what was going on. So I bought a pistol, high-powered pistol, and everybody had some kind of a weapon that would protect us. So even though the sounds were horrific, we never shot at them, because we never wanted to, really, unless we were attacked. And that was the only reason we had the firearms. And they didn't attack us. They just messed with us, actually. And they were coming in, taking our food. We thought they were coming in after food for a long time. And they did take our food, but only the food that we left out for them. They wouldn't ransack our belongings.
It's a long time ago now, Ron. I know it's a long time ago, but can you remember, was there anything else that happened in the camp which, I'm not putting it down to a big, hairy Bigfoot, but was there anything which you would say was paranormal? Anything that went on around the camp? Anything which, for instance, was there any voices? Did you hear? Did you know, was your name called? Did you hear any voices like that? Was there any movement of our items? You know, I'm sure I put that down there.
Well, there's a lot of paranormal stuff happened. We call it paranormal now, but paranormal, all that stuff is just things we don't understand. And we have to seek to understand those things, fill in those gaps of our knowledge. Yeah, we had our camp, I thought, one time. We thought that all our belongings were being thrown down the hill there, and just being torn apart. We thought that was what was going on out there, very ruckus sound. And look out there later when it all stopped and nothing had changed. So that was kind of hard to put a finger on. A lot of strange things happened up there, which was outside the vocalizations that we were also hearing. And so didn't talk about that stuff for a long time because Al Berry, who we took up to, who was the investigative reporter who fostered the sounds at the University of Wyoming and got me into all this publicly. He said, stay with science. He had a master's degree in science. He says, you got to stay with science. Don't talk about the strange stuff or they'll laugh you right out. We got something going on up here, but we couldn't talk about the weirdness that went on until I'm always curious. I think every problem that exists has an answer. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a problem. So we have an answer for everything that's out there. It's just a matter of delving into it and looking for it. So there's one time, well, so many things. I write about that in my book. So books, I've written 3 now.
Whispers in the Wilderness, isn't it? Whispers in the Wilderness?
Voices in the Wilderness.
Voices in the Wilderness.
And that'll be available on an audiobook probably within a week or so. We're get that up online this week.
Cool.
So, but you can order it off Amazon or off my website.
Look, I shall show the people at home. Because just so that they know where to go to. Let's have a look. What is it?
Well, my website is ronmorehead.com, and all the stuff I have, my CDs. I've produced a couple of CDs too with the sounds on them, and those CDs are downloadable. And you can download the books too. You don't have to buy the paperback. You can buy the book.
Yeah.
But the audiobook, which would be,
Can you see that, guys? Can you see that? Okay, that's the Amazon. I just put in Ron Morehead and it comes up right here. Okay. Now also, let's have a look. I've got because you've got a website as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that book is my chronicle. The first book I wrote, which is Voices in the Wilderness, and there's also a documentary being made now about the camp by a production company. So it should be out here by springtime. They've been working on it for 2 or 3 years, so I think it's going to be quite well done, and I've seen previews of it. So that'll be intriguing for people to watch. I'm just going to put there. That's now you're looking at it.
Yeah,
that's a picture of me. Yeah, same hat.
Yeah. No, that's good. Actually, it looks better in black and white, to be honest, Ron.
Oh.
It's got more. It's got more sort of like that sepia look. It's got more kind of, you got that film style look there.
Oh well, thank you. That was actually done in a filming I did years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, they was trying to do well, I've had several production companies after me to go around the world with this stuff, and that was one of them. But I chose not to do it really, just because I don't need to do that. I think the ultimate openness of this should be talked about in forums like this. So.
Ron, what's this Fast Talk and Child's Play? If I play it, what is that? Is that the series?
Well, yeah, just a couple of little samples I got of the sounds that we recorded. One of them is just chatter. I got a lot of those. Sure. I mean,
I'll play it.
You can. I should have said so. Of course, we were accused of playing those backwards and all kinds of stuff to get attention, but according to the professor who studied it, was an engineer, a PhD in engineering, very high qualified person. They were not manufactured to play backwards or forward or anything like that, not speeded up. These things just talk very rapidly, and which tells me to have a much larger brain than.
I was going to play it again, just really. I was going to play. It's only 27 seconds. I was going to play it again if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Child's Play, let's have a listen.
It's two of them.
That was made 2 years later, same camp, when I was interacting with them, when we felt safe. I did anyway. And just me and another guy was in camp, and we got there. We knew they were there when we got there. Actually, they were around us when we took off with our horses and mules earlier. Discovered all this later on and put it all together. But yeah, it was quite a. That's not. I saw one for the first time but I saw one went by. Called the Samurai Cry. There's a little one and a mother, we think, right there. And the big one that was behind me was a male, and he was going down to them when I saw him whipping through the woods there. And really, there's no 60-cycle hum, nothing, no evidence at all of those being manufactured. And we also had another PhD in sound at the Texas A&M. Listened to him briefly. He didn't do a study on it, but he said that represents something about 8.5 foot tall compared to the human vocal mechanism. The sound was too huge. Also, I.E. Tybal Institute in New York City, where Al took the first time. They listened to him, but again, they didn't do a study. It cost too much money. And they said it represented something too powerful for human-made, the sounds. Now, what you heard there was what the cryptolinguist seems to think was their vocalization slowed down to something maybe I could understand, because you can hear this on my second CD, where I was interacting with them, and they were trying to say something to me. I just don't know what it was. To this day, I don't. The cryptolinguist can say it's a language, but he can't tell you what they were saying. You can only say it's a language by the human definition of language. It means a cognitive things, like we're talking now, which makes sense, I hope. And anyway, it's pretty interesting stuff. And what we don't know is the range of their vocal ability. I personally think, and I've been told, that they must have more than 2 vocal cords. We only have 2, but they must have more to do all the sounds. A lot of people will think that they're hearing other languages or something like that in this. Maybe they are, but what we were hearing up there was just rapid chatter like this, back and forth. And it was really kind of exciting, to be honest with you. And the 1974, when I recorded that one, that big little one you just heard, that was when, I believe there were 3. The big one, the Samurai Cry Out, which everybody calls it Samurai Chatter now, but that was a different type of sound that we had earlier in the 71, 72, because I think the sounds we had in 71, 72 were intimidating. They were trying to drive us out, I think. That's just our opinion, because they were so, but I think the males do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I was going to say, was there any point in time when this was going on where you felt that any of this chatter was specifically directed at you or your colleagues?
Absolutely. Yeah, in fact, that night, right there, we heard those, the last one, the big little, that was directed. There was, I'll put this on my second CD, my interacting, me calling back to them, trying to mimic them. And that was definitely asking me something. I don't know what it was, but if I had to do over again, I would have thought about it a little bit more. But at the time, we thought we were the alpha males in the whole thing. But you know, you get around this stuff and study it long enough, you realize we're not apex in this environment. They are, and they know more about things than probably we do, and especially when you're in their environment. And at that time, we thought we were just dealing with some big monkey out in the woods that had some kind of abilities we couldn't understand. So I've come to think over the years now, studying this and getting into it all over the world, that there's just a lot more to them than what met our ears that night and what met our camp at the time.
Yeah. You personally, right? If I was to ask you, you know, I met up for a drink, I say, look, Ron, How the hell did it make you feel? How did you feel? Inside. I mean, you get a general gist with people anyway. Okay, with people, you kind of meet them and you think, oh, do you know, I'm really not going to get on with this person. I'm just no, I can't. Or you feel really, intimidated. So it's like,
Well, I think
take
some
away
of the
the
guys did.
chatter.
Some of
Take
the
away
guys
the
did
chatter.
feel.
Not what about the chatter, just how you felt.
Well, you just listened. You're excited. You don't know what's going to come. You don't know what's about. You just know that there's something going on out there that you don't understand. I knew who I was as a human. I didn't have the fear that most people think I should have. Other guys did, but I didn't. And I think that's something that people have to control. I think that's why we had so much going on, because we didn't shoot at them. We became unfearful after a while because we realized they were not going to eat us. They were not coming in after us, even though they could have gotten through those shelter walls, I think, pretty easily. So we just all got comfortable with it, and a little complacent actually, but hopefully that they would come in, because they didn't come in every time, but they come in a lot of the times during the early 70s and deal with us. And it's just exciting.
Must have been. And that's the thing. That's what I get when I listen to it, and I've listened to it. I've listened to it a lot. And what gets me is not much the vocalization and the pitch. I mean, that's incredible. That they can reach. I mean, the deep is really deep. It's kind of in the gut, the stomach. When they're making this, it seems to be. But it's just that sound is not comparable to anything I've ever heard.
Well, it's outside the human range, Phil. It's outside the human range. A lot of it is. Some of it you can mimic, like Scott Nelson can mimic some of it, but he can't mimic and he can't reach the frequencies they reach. Everything, and as far as we know from quantum physics side, from the minute atom all the way through the cosmos, works on the laws of quantum physics. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. It's energy vibrating at a frequency. According to Einstein, if you find the frequency of anything, you change its matter. So it goes on from there. It gets really into the rabbit hole, if you want to call it that. But it takes quantum and classical sciences together to have a pure perception. And that is Dr. Edgar Mitchell's statement. And he's one of our astronauts, who went into space. He believed in quantum science, because quantum science is a reality. It's not like something you can believe or not believe. It's there. It's accepted worldwide. It's just somebody don't understand it. Everybody puts over here in the woo-woo factor. It's only in the micro world. Well, that's bullshit. It just there's more to it. There's more going on than what meets our third density environment.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was about a consciousness and what we actually see. I mean, there's Edward B. Titchener that understood consciousness in three forms: sensation, images, and affective states. Which kind of it is. They're completely right. When you think about it, sensation, yes. Do you feel something? Images, yes, you see it. And affective states. That's the thing. That's the part that really we've got to knuckle down and get to, the affective states part. Einstein said if these things. Because what gets me and what gets a lot of people is 1 minute you see them, next minute they morph out or they disappear and they just go boom, poof. There's people out there which say that they they make the popping sound, that banging sound, that sound. Some people say that it's because they open a doorway. Sometimes in the tree, and they disappear because it's a big hulking creature, and it disappears in the tree, and you think, hang on a minute, 4-foot chest, and it just goes behind the tree, and just you don't see it again. How can that be?
Okay, let me explain that to you. At least what quantum science says about it. In 1933, Dr. Paul Dirac got the Nobel Prize for antimatter, and that's the direct exchange between matter and energy. Because again, Einstein said you find the frequency of anything, you can change its matter. somehow I believe they know how to find the frequency to change their matter into energy. They can go into a tree, like the Nave lore says they've seen them in trees. They're spirit beings, live in two worlds. Well, it goes right on, and I've had several people say they saw them disappear into trees. Well, that, to your classical mind, who's all set, by the way, our paradigms are set within our brain work here. That doesn't make any sense, because we can't do that. Or can we? Can we do that if we were who we're supposed to be, who we're designed to remember to be? We're just not everything we were designed to be as we are right now. We're biological beings living in third density environment. These things can go in and out of that environment because of they can find the frequency to do that. And that would also cause their trackways to stop, which I've had a lot of reports of. For a lot of time, a lot of investigators would say, well, it's a hoax because the trackway just can't stop. Something had to keep going. Well, no. If you can change your matter into energy, your density wouldn't be there anymore. You wouldn't leave a trackway. And that's happened to me up there. And my daughter, we saw that stuff. And that gets you thinking a little bit. Well, what's there to that? There has to be an answer. And the answer, I believe, is the antimatter of Paul Dirac's. By the way, that was established firmly by CERN in Switzerland in 2012 when the Hadron Collider set a particle off and it turned into energy. You can sense energy, detect energy, but you can't see energy, at least in our parameters of light frequency, which we have, which is 430 to 770 terahertz. That's the light's frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything. You find the frequency, but we don't see all frequencies. Everything is, so many things out there. There's so many things around us right now. If you could see them, it'd probably frighten you because it's just there, but you don't see them. Sometimes you can feel those things through your senses, which we have yet to evolve totally. But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to realize who we are as humans, because I think we're very special as humans. I think these things are very special. They've probably been here longer than Homo sapiens. And they're not all the same. I got to say that. From my experience and from my worldwide research, they're just not all made the same. If you can believe there was a Neanderthal, which we do, there's a Cro-Magnon, which there was, Bushman Hottentot, which there was, the Denisovians, which there was. So we got all those records are out there, but there's also been an innumerable amount probably of aliens that visited this planet. If you take those aliens and they've all manipulated the genome of different species, well, that's what causes some of these things to be different. And what's their agenda? What are they for? Well, all those things, you get right back into Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki, and what happened, which, by the way, fits with the first few chapters of Genesis in our Bible. But it's several hundred thousands of years. It's not just 6 days. But those stories all came from the Mesopotamia tablets, which have been deciphered now. They found them, and they have started translating those Sumerian records.
Because it was 2012, I think, when they found the God particle, the boson.
Yes, that's what I mentioned.
And interestingly, if I remember rightly, I think it was around about that time that they what was it now? They thought they shut the whole of the CERN down, and it was like all of a sudden just shut it down completely because somebody had said that they'd found what was it now? I believe it was antimatter, and then they shut the whole thing down and they said no it wasn't, but then they did confirm they found the boson particle, which flows around everything. It basically gives form to matter. It holds it all together. It's like an ocean. You can't see it, but it's like an ocean running all the way around the room, around you, around me, everywhere. It's kind of holds it all together. The God particle intro. But I think with Einstein, E equals mc squared. Energy at mass. Energy creates mass at velocity. And I think velocity has got a lot to do because these things shift. what we see, they shift.
Yeah, it's time light, which is C of the MC squared. Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're on it. You've done your homework.
Yeah, they really do. They I do think that there is a thing of, kind of, I've often thought, well, when I've been out, because why is it that we go out, Ron, into the woods, we go out into the forest, and it's always there that we tend to see enigmas like UFOs, like Bigfoot, like Dogman. It's never in Walmart. It's never in kind of a parking lot normally. It's never somewhere where it's going to be kind of busy. It's always in high carbon dense areas that we see these entities. And I think that has something to do with why we see them. I think we often see them in forests and then woods because of the very fact of them being woods and forests. Personally, I think.
I don't think they want the human exploitation, first of all. They're not supposed to interfere with our karma, what we're supposed to react to, because that's all life's about, is reacting to what we're coming face with every day. And reacting to those things is very important to raise our personal density, to raise our personal vibration or frequency up higher. That's how we get out of third density, is to raise our frequency. Because we're all frequency, energy, vibrating. So once you understand that part, you understand how important it is to react to all your circumstances in a positive way with love and compassion. And once we learn to do that, we're raising our personal and be happy about things. This is the thing, everything, this world doesn't work against you, it works for you. You just learn how to react to it. And no matter what happens to you, you should be thankful for it, because it's a challenge for you to learn how to react to that in a positive way. If you don't learn it now, you're going to learn it sooner or later. And it might be later in another lifetime, but you got to learn it. You've got to learn that to be part of the cosmos, like we're designed to be, in my opinion. It's all my opinion, obviously.
No, I agree. I agree. I think. What do you think, Nat?
Sorry, I'm just processing the idea. The idea of you were saying about forests. Well, the trees and that have electromagnetic frequencies, so it might possibly be easier for them to change their frequency within a forest because of the electrical fields of the plants around them. And it's and I was also thinking, interesting as well, is like, we can access other dimensions by changing consciousness, but maybe they can alter their consciousness, which alters their physical frequency as well. So instead of just flipping the consciousness from one plane to another, they're actually somehow changing their entire being, if that makes sense. So they're sort of manifesting and demanifesting into the 3D reality. And like you said, because it's a skill potentially that they have, but I'm thinking like we can do that, but only like from a consciousness point of view rather than a physical point of view. So we've obviously got a disconnect there somewhere. So it's like if they can alter their consciousness, which also alters their frequency and their physical form, they're flipping their bodies in and out, whereas we can't do that with our bodies, but we can do that with our minds to some degree. So that was what I was thinking from what he was saying, and that's why we struggle with it a little bit. But then, like you say, again, biblically, we've had that disconnect from God, but maybe that sort of like descent into the physical form is what disconnected us. So from that ability to access.
Well said. I think you're
Yeah, does that make sense, sort of?
Yeah.
It's a fairly new concept to me to think of like that, but it's
trees. I got a whole chapter on trees in my recent book, Bigfoot Unveiled, because I believe there's something going on with trees. There's the energy there. They're very upset about us clear-cutting trees and destroying the planet like we're doing, because it's their planet, they feel like. Because they were here before us, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
You spent a long time, Ron, as a hunter, looking for these flesh and blood creatures. What was the specific tipping point when you said, look, okay, biology alone doesn't answer this?
Mhm. Well, it was probably when I got got into Mesopotamia and the Sumerian and Babylonian uh, uh, data that's there, how we got kickstarted as a human species, how we became from a troglodyte to how we are now. What made us our consciousness? How do we get that? You start. Been a passion of mine just to find out more about what we are and who we are and what we're doing here and what it's all about. And I think it's very important that we all look into that, really. But my tipping point was, well, I don't know, I had one. It's kind of been a gradual process of just learning things as I go, delving into it. And it's been my life's passion now since I was since I was 29 when this started with me, 71. So it's just, it's interesting. I don't know if there's one specific tipping point, but all these different things that was going on with this ethnic camp kind of grew into one big, how's this happening? And that's what got me into the rule that governs everything throughout the cosmos, and that's quantum physics. It rides on the back of our third density environment.
Yeah. It's there's so much we just don't know. I mean, for like Natalie was saying, you know, we're pretty useless really when it comes to living in the animal kingdom. You know, we don't hear properly. Our hearing's like very limited. My one's actually got tinnitus in one ear, so I'm even worse than most people. Our sight, we've got a very, very narrow spectrum that we're able to view in. Likewise, we need clothes because we can't keep warm because we have no fur as such. You know, we giving birth is very awkward for us. You know, it's kind of just, I don't know, we're very low, we're different. Granted, we are, you are quite right, we're different. I think we're different because we have an ability to question, which animals don't. We have that ability to question our own reality and our own consciousness, and I think animals don't do that. They have souls, I believe. Animals do have souls, and that's the truth. But I think the ability to question ourselves is something which is absolutely unique in the animal kingdom. You know, I think that's one thing which does set us apart. That and the ability to love is another.
Right. You know, all animals seem to, oh, excuse me, I get these people keep trying to, animals adapt to their environment. We don't. We have to create an environment to adapt to us. And that's a big difference. That's what you're talking about right now, I think. We have these thoughts that go in where we have to have this, we have to have a car, we have to have a house, we have to have this, and we change the environment to meet with us. We're the only animal on this planet, I think, that does that. All the other animals adapt to the environment and evolve to the environment. So it's kind of interesting to look at that stuff, how different we are. Our olfactory sense, we don't smell like a bear. A bear can smell 20 times better than we can smell. Our olfactory sense is just not what a bear's is, or a dog's, or that goes. And like I say, everything's frequency. So again, what's the frequency of that? What's the frequency of this? And find the frequency of anything, and you can change its matter. And that's a big deal for us to discover what we really have as our ability. And I think that's where our consciousness comes in. We have to understand how it is, how we're supposed to become one with this consciousness that we're all part of. We all think we're separate from that, and we think we are, but we're not. We're all part of this one consciousness, one creation, and that's how I think anyway. And once we learn who we are as a human species and how we can reconnect to that oneness that we're all supposed to be, I think we're all going to be much better off.
We kind of proved that, really, haven't we? Because there's been instances where I've cited this sort of account or these accounts in the past, but where patients who suffer from who've suffered coma or had been induced into a coma have very often woken up knowing, and they're basically brain dead from the point of view of electrical activity in their synapses. There's nothing. There's nothing there. Their bodies are alive, but no, very, very, very little activity in their head. And they've woken up and they've turned around to the nurse and said, "Nurse, thank you so much for coming in and holding my hand. Thank you for telling me those kind words." Or a relative, they've noticed a relative come in and kiss the forehead while they're being in a coma. And I think that's where we have a brain, but also the consciousness that you're talking about, Ron, quite rightly so, is external. I think is an external consciousness.
Well, it's an external entity that's inside of each of us, though. We have that ethereal part within us, I think, and that's why it can't die. Only our biological body dies, and that's what changes form is who you really are. Who we really are is inside of you. You know, it's who you see me, it's who I see you. It's all, well, our brain is so conditioned from the time of birth to believe this and not believe that. But if we don't get in coherence with our heart, which I believe is connected to the pineal gland, which is a direct connection, you get that gut feeling that you should do this or you should do that. That thought goes to your brain, but our brain overrides it with what it knows, what's been taught. And it might tell us to go over there when the heart says go over there. And that's the ethereal part of you, which I think puts out more energy. Or not, I think it's a fact that your heart puts out the energy, much more energy than your brain. Your brain takes care of your body functions, and it only knows what's been taught, like AI in biological form.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's another thing, isn't it, with AI and everyone's. I'm not that worried about AI personally. I think so long as we're able still to pull the plug, I think we'll be okay. And I think AI is very useful from the point of view of in the medical situations. It's bang on. It can cut waiting lists and it can come up with diagnosis. Because it's able to, you know, structure together, structure together from a whole range of different examples, and it can actually diagnose using that really, really quickly. And I think exactly. It's a tool which should be used medically. Probably also in the capacity of learning as well. Teaching is a brilliant tool for kids, and it's something which I think they quite enjoy using because it's new and it's like kind of different. But I don't think it's ever going to kind of like take over, because at the end of the day, it needs an awful lot of power. It takes so much power. When people talk about quantum computers, they've got no idea how much power it needs. It basically for the D-Wave 2 computer that Google and NASA jointly own. And it sounds like a heartbeat. People that have gone in to view it, they've come out and they've gone, my word, it sounds like it's alive, because the cooling system within, all you can hear is boom, 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 boom. Because of the cooling system inside it has got to keep it at absolute zero, the chipsets, you know, the quantum chipsets. And but so long as we're able to still pull that plug, we're okay, I think, you know.
You think that time will ever come, Phil, when you can't pull the plug?
I think
can AI get consciousness?
Yeah, well, I think, do you know what, Ron? I think the time will come. We will know the time will come, has come when it starts chattering. When it starts chattering like Sasquatch does, and we don't understand it, then we really have to pull the plug, because when these computers start talking to each other, and they're able to mask what they say because they've come up with some kind of Esperanto language of their own, that's when we ought to worry, and that's when we ought to really pull the plug. Up to that point, it's a good tool.
And it's probably too late to pull the plug then. If they get consciousness, they won't. I think I
Yeah.
refer to it as the wolf in sheep's clothing because
Mm,
everybody's going to be dependent on it. We're dependent on it now so much, just the technology we're using right now, and it's just expanding so rapidly. I think it's going to be out of control, and if you don't understand that, you won't know what to do about it. Because I think we will have robotics for what we already do for all the way from self-driving cars to something that can help you around the house. And those things are going to know everything that we know and more, a lot faster too than we react to. But when they learn to create the biological body that they're in, I just think it's going to get, well, if you want to call it worse, it's going to just,
mm,
they're going
yeah.
to, if they get consciousness like we have and understand who we are, they won't need this species any longer. But you know the difference. If you know the difference, you'll have control over that yourself. And
Mm.
it's
I
just how
think
I see things going. Uh,
you're right. You're right, and and once again, it's like the age-old problem. Going back through the decades when there was like kind of peasants, ordinary people going around, and they couldn't read, they couldn't write, and they were at the mercy of the people that could read, that could write, that did have
mhm.
money, that did have education, that did have food, that did, and we're in the same position now. It's like kind of, well, the people that run these shows and that run the AI and run all these integrated systems which are in our phones and in our computers and basically in everything, it it's uh really quite awful, because how many times do you have you ever spoken with a friend of yours, Ron, a buddy, about a car, maybe about your next podcast, about anything at all, and then your phone's popped up with an advert saying, just advertising or promoting something that you were just talking about?
Oh yes, I call that quantum entanglement when you're on the same frequency. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like birds in a flock, fish in a school, going through the waters.
Mm,
We've all seen those things. They're not talking to each other, but they're communicating through quantum entanglement.
yeah.
And that's what we can do. We have those abilities. We have a lot of abilities. Our second chromosome telomere has been cut down, and we're just limited now. And that's all designed. It's designed that way so we wouldn't get too smart. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Have you
agree with that one.
Huh?
I agree with that one, because it's like Phil was saying about like using the AI in medicine, and I'm like, but if you start to rely on AI not to hold those pieces of information in your head, does that not mean that your brain gets lazy about
Oh,
remembering things? It's like, so then you don't have those memories and those facts and things in your head, so you can't put it together for yourself. So it makes you lazy, and it makes
oh,
your brain lazy. And I think that's going to make us stupid ultimately.
well,
Because
yeah.
right now we're having to remember, because I do what an AI does. My brain just holds loads of pieces of information, and then it just chunks and shorts it into a pattern. And it's like, once it sees a pattern, I'm like, yeah, that's okay, that makes sense now. And it's like, but if I have an AI doing that for me, my brain's going to stop doing that because it'll get lazy. And
Hmm.
it's like and like you say, the more disconnected we get from who we are, the lazier our senses get because we're not using them. So
Exactly.
it does make you wonder how much of it, like you say, some of it seems to be deliberate to make us lazy so that we're not aware.
Well, I think
Um,
so. Yeah.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
it's important to balance ourselves, with the chakras of meditation. I think that's very important to make your system balanced, and that will open you up to understanding, I think, a little bit more. We just have to know who we are as humans,
yeah,
and what's happened to us in the past, and what has changed our genome, and what reason they have. Uh, it all relates right back into the Anunnaki, I think, and the skinny beings from the sky, the powerful ones from the sky, which falls right into the watchers in biblical terms. And I'm not religious now. I think I was at one time, but I studied the biblical things quite a bit as a younger man. And I think now I try to reach more into spirituality, which we all are. That's the ethereal part of our being, which cannot die according to physics. We just change forms. And so that part of us has to learn with love and compassion through all our experiences. And I just think that's very, very important. Of course, all to raise our density.
Yeah, because that's bigger than living even, isn't it? That kind of energy, because like you say, it's always there. So when you change form, what we do in this day-to-day life isn't, if we're not connected to that, when we leave this day-to-day life, we're not so connected to that energy. And it's like, it's perhaps better if we are, because then it's not so important.
I think once we pass on, we are connected to that. We just understand then, because then we judge ourselves. We know what we did wrong and what we didn't respond to properly. Because once you do, you're not disconnected from it. You are reconnected to it. Yeah,
okay.
And I think that's how I see it. And
that makes sense.
And then you get to respond again or not if you've done everything properly.
No.
Because I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in those things. I got a whole chapter on can't serve two masters, like the Bible says. You can serve one or the other. Well, one of them is yourself, who you think you are, because we all think we're somebody, and we are somebody, but we're not who. We're not everything we know. Well, never mind. But no, there's so much to this. Or there's the ethereal part inside of you. Serve that. Serve the God inside you. Let's put it that way. Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I love to say those things when I get on these programs because I think it's important. Because the Bigfoot thing has brought me into all this. Excuse me. That's something.
Oh, bless you. Twice a kiss, Ron.
Ah, thank you. Wait a minute. I will turn my head for just a second. Excuse me again.
No. You crack on, mate. Crack on. That's fine. Yeah, I'll join you.
There
you go. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so I think it's. I mean, you're in your 80s, aren't you, Ron? Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look back, you think to yourself, well, technology-wise, yeah, we've kind of accelerated beyond all kind of like recognition. I mean, I remember growing up, and it was 2 tin cans and a piece of string with a neighbour's kid next door hanging out our windows, talking to each other. It weren't that long ago, It weren't that long ago. So yeah, technology has come on really leaps and bounds. Do you really think that these aliens? See, I've got a feeling that what we experience now is all part of one single origin. It's from one single origin. Now, I'm not going to go all Bible bashy on you and say, oh, it's hell, it's the devil. I'm not going to say that. All right.
Good.
But I think it's one. I like you, Ron. You're straight. I like that. And I think it's just a case that why I say that is because I don't think these UFOs we see are here to exactly interact. I think they're here to change our perception of how we think. And I think that's the reason that we often see these strange anomalies in the sky, because the aliens are pretty thick. Let's face it. Every account you hear about, even Travis Walton. I mean, they kind of like have no comprehension of fear. They don't know the fear that they inflict. They have no they almost talk in a manner like it's a child talking. They have this persona about them which kind of comes across as being very childlike, very naive. Um, they often, when they appear, if they're alien entities, they appear really absurd. There was an alien entity that was over here, quite a famous one. It was only in Essex, and it ended up looking like a clown. It looked like an actual clown, with antennas coming out and this, and big eyes and very clumpy walking, and
Hmm.
they're very absurd looking. But I think maybe we shouldn't take them on face value. Maybe we should take them as a perception change. What do you
Hmm.
think to that?
I think going back to the first part of that, I think we're in the age of enlightenment because we've gone through the age of technology. We're going through that now, and I think we're all being enlightened into another part of what's really going on. I think aliens, some of them are here to see us through that because they can't interfere. They're not supposed to interfere with our karma, what we're supposed to react to. They're not supposed to interfere with that. It's kind of like the Star Trek thing, we don't interfere with another culture. Well, what allows us to grow and to be who we're supposed to be in the cosmos is in our karma, our destiny, how we respond to things. I've said it over and over in this program, but it's just critically important that we respond to everything with love and compassion. And once we learn that, it changes our ethereal part into a graduate out of this third density we're in. So I think we're in the age of enlightenment, understanding that stuff. And thanks to programs like you're doing now, and maybe we can share something, just one nugget out of what I said gets through to somebody else, or one nugget of what you said to me gets through to me. So I'm here to grow too, like we all are. We're here to learn and to get better. I think we're all going to reach that stage that we're supposed to be at when the time comes, because aliens are going to expose themselves, and probably this year or early next year, if not tomorrow, who knows. But we all are being inundated into understanding that they are here. I think a lot of people are seeing them, a lot of people are reporting them, a lot of people are reporting these Bigfoot things, Dogman, different things like that are coming out of the woods, and people are seeing them. And it just, you wouldn't believe the reports I get all the time of this stuff going on. And I think people are being enlightened right now. They're becoming aware. The biggest thing is becoming aware of who you are as a Homo sapien, as a person created in the image of something very special. And that's who we are. So if we understand that and learn how to become one with that, that's what even Christ said that. And that's another thing. Christ, some people say Jesus, some people say Christ. Jesus was the Christ. Jesus was a man. Christ was the ethereal part, which that's what we're supposed to follow, is those things like that. I don't see a guy floating up in the sky coming back in the clouds like some scriptures say. I see us graduate into enlightenment. That's what
Okay.
I see.
Well, when people often say about the Nephilim being
Hmm.
Bigfoot, what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I've got several scenarios that could work out like that. The Nephilim were giants that were created from the fallen ones, which were the angelic beings, which went against the rule of that God had, and they actually created mankind. Get into it in the Mesopotamian texts. Uh, they there's a lot going on there. Can't talk about it in just a couple minutes, but it's just a big deal. And I think you got the Sarah's womb, when she had a hairy one inside with twins she had, and you got the um, land of Canaan where the giants were. You got a lot of history of giants all over, not just the Bible, but all over. And what that's all about is these things could be a remnant of the Nephilim. Some of them could. They're not all the same. They're just not all the same. And some of them could be bad with maliciousness going on, because that's what they're made to do. Others are here to help us, maybe. So you're looking uh, the Edomites from the land of Canaan, which it gets into so many things there. It's just impossible to get to all of them. But I think it's like 4 different scenarios, because supposedly they were all wiped out in the deluge, the big flood that supposedly happened all worldwide, terraforming things and all. Um, but anyway, those that didn't wipe out everything. There's places in Turkey where they've had thousands of people living underground, and uh, why they do that? Uh, how how everything goes is just a big bubble, big picture that people need to look at. And most people just think we're in one little bubble of our 90-some-odd year lifespan, or 80 or 60 or 50 if you're not so lucky. But we got to get out of that bubble and realize the big picture, which I think is out there. And you guys are on it. I mean, you're understanding those things, and I'm really glad to hear that. It takes programs like this to help people grow and to enlighten them into what's really we're all about, what we're here for, and what's going on.
I do appreciate that. Thanks, Ron. You know, we like to kind of, you know, we are, Natalie, aren't we? We're quite questioning. You know, we're quite you know, we're questioning of ourselves, of anyone, really, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, I'm quite bad for questioning. But yeah, because it's like you say, Ron, I don't think we reduce everything down to either or. And like you say, it's like even with the alien phenomenon, that from what I can tell, though I'm not an expert in any of that kind of thing, but from what I can tell, there's lots of different shades of interaction. So it's sort of like you're thinking it's not just good or bad, or they're here or they're not, because there seem to be different kinds and different levels and interactions, and some of them are playing with us, some of them have different intent, and it's sort of like it's not one or the other. And like you say, even back in all the ancient texts, it wasn't one or the other either. I think a lot of the time, I think we've oversimplified it over the years into like say because you know, with Christianity particularly, with the heaven and hell, we've just made it one or the other, and it's perhaps not actually that at all. It's
yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's a lot broader perhaps, or
Yes,
grounded in something else.
much bigger picture than what people want to look at.
I think so. Yeah, I agree with you there totally. Just to go back before, just to change the subject before I forget, because I'm a horse person. I was going to ask you, you know, back when you were up at the camp with in Sierra, how did the horses react to
the horses were, that's a good question. No, the horses were just perfectly still. They didn't paw around like it did when a bear would come around. They would just be like they were frozen. And I'm not sure if these things could put off the frequency to cause that, what it was, but they just stand at attention, looking towards where the sounds were coming from. And that's the way it was. They would paw and raise cane when a bear came around, though. There's a lot of bear up there too. So
yeah, so they're not sort of reacting fearfully, but they are reacting as in we're not quite sure what this is and we don't quite know how to deal with it, but it's not a threat type thing. I
would say that, yeah. It wasn't threatening, or they would have been raising cane.
Yeah,
they were all
that's
tethered.
Maybe. I wonder. Yeah, because I find the sounds quite frightening. When I first heard them, I was like, they just make me, I don't know, perhaps it's the level I'm on, I don't know, but they do strike some unease, I think, perhaps more than fear. And I just wondered, like, because I spend so much of my time around horses, I wondered whether the horses reacted in a similar manner or not. But that's quite interesting that they were sort of like more sort of focused on them rather than reacting to them in a way.
They've been startled on the trail a couple of times, but not in camp, unless there's a bear around. I know in '74 when these things, I believe they watched us pack our mules and pack our horses before we took off from the trail, which is an 8-mile trek. Well, the horses got real startled about a couple hundred yards up the trail but we didn't think much of it. It could have been a bear, could have been a deer jumping, it could have been a rattlesnake. In the same area we had a rattlesnake there, 52-inch rattlesnake with 9.5 rattlers on it. I got a hat band made out of that snake, by the way. But farther on up the trail, maybe another mile or so, I ran across. I was the lead horse. I always look on the trail what's happening if anybody else has been on the trail. Because we're going to trail about halfway in there. Then after that, you got to be on your own. But I saw its track perpendicular to the trail and Bigfoot track, 5 toes. I snapped a picture of it and wiped it out because whatever was up there, we figured, well, maybe that's what startled the horses down below. I don't know, but once we got to camp, they were already at camp. We determined that for sure, 100% the next morning when I looked out the shelter door and saw this Bill's dust cover from his rifle, which he'd taken in the shelter, that fell off, and it was laying inside of a track which had not been mashed down. So that means the track was there before we went into the shelter, which means they were there before we got there. And there was also some alder brush up on the roof of the shelter, which had been twisted off from the spring, a big around, probably two inches around, and 2 inches across, which took an opposable thumb to do that. Those were twisted off and put up on the shelter, we think as a sign or gift or something, because earlier that year we had resurfaced the shelter, the roof, and we do that, put fresh plastic up there and cover it with alder brush, but we cut it off with a machete over the spring and lay it up there. So those were all dried by the time we got there this time in 74, except for those 2 fresh ones that were up there. And those had to be done before we got there. And it no sooner it started getting dark up there when we started hearing wood popping and rocks cracking together and rhythmically things going on. But Bill and I both learned, just be still when that stuff happens. Don't jump around, start shining your flashlight, trying to look at something, just be still. And we just kept doing what we was doing. I started to keep the fire going, preparing a meal. Bill was messing with the supplies from the horses and mules, and they came in closer. Because if you just ignore them, they will come in closer. And that's what was happening to us that night. They came in closer. And that's when we both got glimpses of them that night. Very exciting time,
When you were up there, Ron, did you see any structures? Was there any X's, the big X's in the trees, or TP structures, or?
We didn't look for those. You find what you look for. We didn't look for those. We weren't interested in those. We didn't think about something like that. No structures that we know of. No TP-like thing, we'd have noticed that, but didn't notice anything like that. Didn't need to. Whatever these things were, they were letting us know they were there in another way. No other hunters were around, so those blinds like that, those structures, you don't know if a Boy Scout team made them or another hunter made them or if a Bigfoot made them. I know a lot of people claim that Bigfoot makes them. Well, maybe they do, but like my friend Peter Burns used to say, if you don't see what made it, you don't know what made it. And that's the good thing about the sounds I made in the Night of the Samurai Cry. I got to see what made the sound, and that's pretty cool.
Did you ever, in 1974, you actually saw one, didn't you?
Yes, that's the night.
What?
Well, it was the one that made the Samurai Cry behind me. I was recording at the time. I got my tape recorder when it all started off out of my saddlebag and started recording, and I got this big cry from the male up from my 2 o'clock position, wherever that is. And he running down through the trees to the spring, to the creek, where we believe an adolescent and a mother was down there chattering. And I was recording them mostly. They were, the mother, I think, was asking me questions. The male, I think, was disturbed because they were getting a little too bold. The young one was mouthing off. That's a little one that you played earlier. He was making some sounds. I think the young ones are curious. They're getting bold. And he went down there to quiet them down. And I think that's what the males do. They're protective about that stuff. And the fact that falls right into an episode that Sasquatch Chronicles did on episode 515. They interviewed a lady from the UK, actually, a linguist, and I interviewed her myself, and she was telling me about the sighting she had when she was over here on business, and she got off early and went over to take a picture of the sunset on the Monterey Beach, and she's sitting up on the rocks waiting for the sun to go down when she's seeing these creatures walk by on the beach. 2 adolescents, 2 females, and 1 male. The male went out in the water, started pulling out seaweed and throwing it back to the females. And didn't know what they were doing because she didn't Bigfoot was not on her radar at all. She had no idea something like that existed. And she thought, I got to get a picture of this. No one's going to believe this. So she pulls off her desk cover, dropped it, and the Bigfoot heard it, the male, and he screamed at her and started coming out of the water towards her. And the female stopped him. And she thinks that's when she fainted. She didn't know what would have happened to her, but she felt like her life was in danger at that time, she thought. And she woke up, she was at the base of her car. She'd been drug up there, she feels, but she didn't have anything else to say about it other than that when the male screamed at her, his neck blew out, kind of like air sacs. And I thought that was interesting because there's a history of primates having air sacs, like the howler monkeys, make them scream loud, and it's interesting. She actually said he had a mark on his tongue too, which
that is really interesting, because on that website of yours, that web page, hang on 1 minute, I'm just going to get it up again, because you saying that almost like a frog having his air sacs, to help it. 1 minute, I'll just get it up. Oh, here we go. I did notice in the sound, and I think it was this one here. Just listen carefully. It sounds a little bit like a frog, like a. Comes up towards the end. That. That. That sound is very unique, and it does sound like it's exhaling air which is caught maybe in its.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, according to cryptolinguists, they actually have a sound they pull in when they're inhaling, which is kind of
crazy,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also whistle. They whistle through their vocal cavity, not their lips like we do. That's been established by their whistles were recorded. And all these sounds are on my CDs, which again are downloadable on my website. So if you want to hear this stuff, it's all narrated. They're both about 40 minutes long with embedded sounds in it. So
yeah,
they're kind of popular for that reason.
Did you ever suss out, when you were up there, did you ever suss out, was there any particular method that you used that you kind of like did get a response out of, and it was like repeatable, or like whistling, or maybe a certain call, or maybe a whoop?
No, we found out that they don't respond to that. I think you have to let them be the aggressor. You have to be where you think they might be and just be still and let them see who you are as a vibrational frequency. And they understand vibration energy, I think, better than we do. And you can't be the aggressor around these things. You have to let it happen. You can't make it happen. And I've had people say they blasted my sounds and got a response. But one guy said he got charged after that by something crashing down through the woods at him after he blasted my sounds. So I don't recommend people blasting these sounds. We did that up in Alaska when Discovery Channel took me up there, Portlock, Alaska. We blasted the sounds and got a response from them. But again, you don't know what these sounds might represent. It might be a challenge. It might be, you don't know. They might be looking for a mate. That could be serious. You just got to be careful.
Yeah, I had one charging at you. We were just, we were told about that by someone else.
Yeah.
Actually, someone a Bigfoot charging at you with a
That's when you learn to walk on water real fast.
Yeah, not my idea of a Good Friday out. No. Is there, Ron? Looking back, is there anything that you would have changed? Anything that you know now? If you could go back, what would you change?
Well, probably a lot. I would have been a little more aware of what they were trying to communicate to me, and I would have tried to just know more. Knowing what I know now, I don't know that I would have had the experience that I had then, because whatever my vibration was at that time wasn't as high as it is now. Not that I'm exponentially higher, but I've learned a lot more, and I think I've gotten to where I'm supposed to be as far as my awareness of these things. If I was like I am now, back then, I don't know what would have taken place, because we're looking for the ape in the woods like so many people still do. And they're more than that, a lot more than that. What we dealt with is a lot more. They're not all the same. Some of them have been diluted down from crossbreeding, inbreeding with the indigenous people over the eons of time. I think that's what the Patterson film represents, is one that's been diluted down. She's more human-like. Her track waves look like that. And I got one of the tracks that Bob gave me, Bob Gimlin. And it just, what we had up there was different. And I just think there are different ones all over the world. But that was in California, and it was in the Sierra Nevada mountains where Bob Gimlin lives up in Northern California, Bluff Creek. And I think a lot of the ones that are out there now are the ones that have been bred and diluted down by indigenous crossbreeding. And the Native American lore goes back into saying they used to take their women, so, which means they would have had 23 pairs of chromosomes instead of 24.
Yeah,
like
but
most primates.
also American Native law also say that they come in and they're like healers. They're
Yeah.
spiritual healers, and they help.
Oh, exactly. We can do that if we just knew how to connect with ourselves, know who we are. We've got those abilities. Even Christ said, you can do everything I'm doing. He used to walk on water, and I've not learned to do walk on water yet. I got to be honest with you. I haven't learned how to turn water into wine yet. My honesty keeps going. I can't do.
You're working on it, Ron. You're working on
trying.
it.
I'm working at it. Yeah, I get wet every time I try that. or overloaded with water. One or the other.
Are you okay just to take some questions from the comments?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. If you've got any questions, Nat, you just fire them out. That's fine.
I don't know. The only thing that got me with the sounds was like you say, the complexity of them. Because even just listening to them, you can hear all these different levels to it. It's like, and it's clearly communication, and it's like, and like you say, the changing in tone and intensity and the emotional sound of it as well. It's not just noises.
Right.
It gets me every time I listen to them, and my brain's just like can't even comprehend the layers within it. Because it wouldn't be surprised if they're speaking 2 or 3 different things at the same time.
That wouldn't surprise me either.
Not for listening to it.
Yeah. And people think AI should be able to answer that. Well, maybe it can someday, but AI only knows what we know. It's just exponentially so. Yeah. So it just it's an undetermined language according to cryptolinguists. So it wouldn't be able to pull out anything. Actually, I think they tried AI one time, and one person said, well, in this language it means this, and that language this word means that, and that language this word means that. Well, that's all AI can do. It can only relate to what we know and what has been taught. All the information all over has been crammed into AI. But this information has not been crammed into AI. So I think it would have to get conscious and understand consciousness, really, in order to ever understand this language. And maybe I could have then if I'd have been more open-minded, but I always analytical, still am. And I would have, if I was back to those days again, Bill, I wouldn't have been so analytical. I would have tried to be more in tune to the environment and everything going on.
Do you think there could be like a telepathic element there as well, possibly?
Yes.
With you talking about frequency, whether they would be able to...
Yes, that's all quantum entanglement. If they can find the frequency of anything, you can get into it. And I think that's where a lot of people have what they call mind speak, is because they're on the right vibrational link. That happens generally later in the evening, when the Earth's Schumann resonance goes down to 7.83. Our frequency goes down too. I mean, we can tune in
I've experienced it with horses and animals.
Yeah.
So it's like it would be curious, with them having language as well, whether an attempt at sort of like a deliberate attempt at sort of telepathy with them would yield anything different. But
Well, they would tune into what they know. I mean, yeah, they can probably tune into animals like that. It wouldn't be a language like the definition of language like we're talking now, but it would be something that the horse would understand,
mm,
in my opinion, because I think they can tune into anything. You
yeah.
find the frequency of anything, you get on level with it and
Yeah,
make
it's a
things.
curious thought actually, because like you say, with the horses being attentive rather than, and like I say, I mean, I've had communication from animals, so it's like it's
Mhm.
quite possible that, you know, that their focus was like, you know, sort of like, are you a threat? No, we're not. It's like
Yes,
we're
yes,
okay. You know, you don't need to worry about us.
I
You
totally
know,
agree. You know,
yeah, it's an
I was
interesting.
so at one with my horse up there, he would know which way I wanted to go when I would just think about it, pretty much,
Mm,
and that's without keying in with my knees or anything. He would just know. Just a great
yeah,
horse. Got hit by a truck years later, but anyway,
not the same.
no,
Yeah, no,
no,
it's
they know your energy. You can tune into that and become one with your. Well, you probably don't become one with your horse. Become one with
mm,
your dog. Become one with your whatever animal you got. Because animals are able to do that stuff much better than us because we think we live in a world of separation. We think we're
mm,
separate from everything when we're really one with everything. And
mm,
once we realize that through our meditation, uh, go through, you become better with that stuff. You become more communicative with other people. You become telepathic. Remote viewing is all happens. Some people can connect into that a lot better than others already. That's because of the decalcified pineal gland, which we have, which most of us have it
Mm.
calcified. And we have to uncalcify that with our diets and all
Yeah,
that. So,
and there's such a thing as the that Christ oil as well, which runs up
yeah,
through the spine,
yeah.
and
Very good. You're into that. Okay, Phil. I'm happy to
yeah,
hear that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's what
because
that's the
inside our
Christ.
heads
Yeah.
is the Ark of the Covenant. There's actually a gland in there, which
Yeah.
is the shape
So,
of the Ark of the Covenant.
oh, I'm
Um,
glad to hear you say that stuff. Yeah.
but yeah, I've got Ready Steady Retro who says, did you experience the hitchhiker effect?
Yes,
Really?
I did. Yeah, down at my house, my ranch in the valley, had some things happen there that was definitely not normal. And Bill McDowell, my good friend who packed up there with me, has the same thing happen to him. Uh, Yeah, I could tell you what it was, but just know the story. But it's a ticking. We heard some ticking sounds up at our camp one time. This ticking sound was out by our stove area. Just three of us up there, Lewis Johnson, Bill McDowell, and myself. And we heard that ticking sound get closer and closer to our shelter. The shelter door was closed, but it came through the walls. Also, it was inside the shelter, the ticking sound. We turn the flashlights on, nothing's there. So you turn the light on, nothing's there. Turn the light off, starts up again. And just stayed there until it kind of run between Lewis and I. And we thought we're going to grab whatever it is making this sound, because we never had that before. And we reached over to grab it, turned the light on, and it was gone. And so, but later on, I was down irrigating my field. I had 64 acres down the valley, and I was out there irrigating. I heard this clicking sound again, same sound, and I kept looking around, thinking something on me or something. I couldn't see anything, but it was there, and didn't know what to think about that. But anyway, I asked Bill, Bill, have you ever had anything happen to you? He said, yeah, that clicking sound that we had up there one time was out with me when I was out in my field. He has a ranch too. And he said the same thing I did. He heard the same sound. So it's all energy. And if it's energy, they can change their mass into energy, which I think they can do. They can be anywhere, anytime. Time don't exist in the quantum world. And once you get into the energetic part of all this. You don't see it, feel it, but it's there, and you can do anything. We can do anything. Just have to evolve better into it.
mm,
No, we can. I agree. I'm of the school. I'm a little bit of a believer in biocentric thought, I mean, you know yourself. You know, in essence, if we think it, then it. it appears, it can happen. We have that ability within us to manipulate what we see, even manipulate outcome with our thought. There's been many times in the past where I've and even little kids, when they go to bed, then they sleep, and before they sleep, they think, "Oh, I wish I had that bike. I wish I had that bike. I wish I had that bike." And then it appears that they get it somewhere down the line. They get it. Your dreams do come true if you think hard enough and wish hard enough. And I think that biocentric thought does play a part, and I think it there's a thread of truth in this when it comes to aliens and it comes to Bigfoot and it comes to, I believe they're all kind of connected, and the one common denominator is us. It is us. They're interested in us because we hold something, and whether that's a soul or something else, maybe we have to witness them for them to exist. I don't know,
Good
but
question. Yeah, yeah, that's a very good thought. Yeah, you find what you look for, and supposedly that's the way it works, and that's what got me a lot of things I got in my life. And I learned this from a book I read years ago by Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking, an old book, but it got me started on how you get things, and that's how I got my airplanes, that's how I got a lot of things in my life. I've been very fortunate in my life. I've had very successful, but it all relates to how you think. If you think positively and look for things, you're going to find what you look for. And that's, I think, Winston Churchill saying that. But fear is your only enemy. If you fear something, you're not going to get it, probably, or you'll get it the wrong way. But yeah, you're like me, fella. You look for things. You look for the positive side of things. That's what you'll find. Look
that's
for the
right.
negative side of things. You'll find that because the universe is going to give you what you think about and what you look for. And
Exactly right. Exactly right. I think positivity is does play a key part. Even to the point when you think like UFO hunters will find UFOs, ghost hunters will find ghosts.
right.
It's kind of, in a way, it's glaringly obvious in a way.
Yeah.
It's it's sort of a bit crazy. Larry Luttrell, hello Larry. He's put a question up. What do you think about the connections to cryptids and portals? Certain frequencies they admit.
Well, portals exist. They're just magnetic anomaly that's on the Earth. How they're created, I think it's still being studied. But can they create their own portals, these things, and go in and out of them? I don't know. But as far as that goes, NASA's been studying portals. It's a fact. They exist. Look at Skinwalker Ranch, too. There's portals there. What was the other question?
Yeah, what do you think about the connections to cryptids and portals?
Oh, yeah. Well, we got the Dogman, which has been seen quite a bit back east, actually out here too in the West Coast, but mostly back east in the land between the lakes and different places like that. There's a lot of reports of those. I just moved back from North Carolina. I was back there for 3 years and went into land between the lakes and other things. And yeah, there's a lot of cryptids back there. There's a lot of things being seen that that people just describe as something crazy looking. There's little people, there's big people, there's all kinds of things. Again, sometimes we see through the veil, and I do believe that all kinds of genetic manipulation has happened in the past, and it's happening now because I think the aliens have found this Earth is something they want. They're happy with it. It's really a nice planet in the solar system, and everybody wants to be here. We are the species that has dominion. We're not in charge of it. We don't have demand over it, but we have dominion over it. We're special. Humans are special. So anytime something weird comes after you in the woods and you don't know what it is with Dogman or Bigfoot, just know who you are as a human, and it's not going to bother you because fear is what they'll play on if you're afraid. But yeah, other cryptids are there.
Yeah. Thank you, Ron. We have another question. Have you ever cried listening to your recordings? She says, Ready Steady Retro says, I cried with relief the first time I heard your work. I honestly think it's the most amazing sounds I've ever heard. Big heart, just beautiful. That's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I have listened to him, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Ron, do you ever get kind of in a state where it's, you get all these podcasts that you go on and you get the people like me and that throwing questions at you. Do you ever get kind of like, I don't know, do you ever feel to yourself, God, I wish I kind of stayed longer up there, learned more, got some footage and stuff like that?
Well, if we could have got footage, we tried to do a lot of things up there that we couldn't do. I've been up there since I went up there in 2018. Haven't been back there since because it was on fire when I was up there, and a lot of things burnt. But David Paulides, he's the guy who wrote the 411 series, Missing People. He was up there with me. I took him up there in 2018, and he filmed me around the camp for about 15 minutes on his Missing 411, The Hunted. And it's still there. The ground is obviously still there. The camp has been taken down. I think they took 9 mule loads out of there. The BLM found out about it and said that we had to take it down. So the Johnsons went up there with Bill McDowell, and they took it apart and hauled what the Johnsons had prepared for Armageddon. Armageddon up there. So much stuff. They got 9 mule loads. It's an area still there. I don't know that I'll go back. I have no reason to, but the trail has been kind of changed around a lot. It's kind of dangerous, really. It's always been dangerous, but I guess it's even more dangerous now. That's what I've heard anyway. I haven't been there since 2018. Yeah. However, Renaissance, who's doing a production on the Sierra Camp now, they went up there. David Johnson, Warren Johnson's youngest son, he remembered where the camp was, and he got him in there, and they did a segment on the Sierra Camp up there a couple of years ago. That's the last time I think anyone's been up there. But that documentary should be out this spring. That's the story anyway. They've told me. They've been working on it for 2 or 3 years now, so I think it's going to be really well done.
Is it still quite hot? Would you say, have you been told, is it still quite a hot site?
Hot as far as Bigfoot activity?
Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't have anything happen. Nothing definitively. Things happen, but I'm always skeptical about anything that anybody says, unless they can show me 2 or 3 things. The last thing that happened when I was up there was 2016. And that's what David Paulides, filmer, reproduced on his 15-minute segment in Missing 411, The Hunted. But it was a light, kind of an elongated light going, just went right by our tent. And I don't know what to think about that. But strange things happen up there. It's just like maybe there is a portal. There's a water spring there. There's a kind of unique place. Nothing surprises me up there. Nothing surprises me anywhere really anymore.
But I watched you on that documentary. I bought the documentary, Man, Myth and Monster. The David Paulides one.
Yeah.
And I watched you on that, and a lot of there's a lot of guys he interviewed, a lot of people he interviewed. All of them fantastic. Obviously, you were the best. Obviously.
Oh well, thank you.
But they're all pointing to the same idea. They're kind of pointing towards a creature that is not confined to our reality. It's something which can not change its reality, change its own reality. It can move between realms.
Yeah.
I think something different. I honestly think that it's something to do with velocity, and I think that's why in high carbon areas, imagine like time filaments. So basically, we're on we're on a 35mm film, and we've got that one segment of film, that one frame, jogging along on the film, and then these Bigfoot are on another frame, but instead of going at 35 frames per second, they're going 36 frames per second. They're kind of going slightly quicker. At some point, like two opposing trains, you meet and see each other before they morph off and disappear. It's not because they're on essentially another reality. It's just the time scale, the inertia effect of them passing with velocity. And I think with the high carbon areas, it's hard. That's why it glitches so much. That's why you see the lights, I think, because these areas take an awful lot to assemble. Think of like time filaments, assembling the trees, assembling the rocks, assembling the. It takes an awful lot of, and sometimes they glitch because it's so complicated. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm still writing on works at the moment, so I've got to pass it by the boss up there and see what she thinks of it eventually. But you know, I think it's along the same lines. It's along the same lines. I do believe it's along the same lines. Have you ever got another question? Have you ever received reports of people seeing giants, like people, and not hairy?
No, I haven't seen big Bigfoots, 12 foot tall. But no, I haven't. Like 25, 30 foot giants. I've not heard of those. I've heard of them, but I also think they found remains, but I have not seen those personally.
No. I've only heard about stories about them, the giants of Kandahar and things like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was supposed to be 15 foot tall, 6 toes too. Yeah, I know L.A. Mozilla. He interviewed both the pilot and one of the guys that was on the ground group that was there, and it happens. But then anything the government can control, they're going to hide, or in some way make fun of it or hide it from you. I think that's why we're so in the dark here and across the pond from you. But the government has to control the narrative of stuff. They're going to have to rewrite history books. They're going to have to explain a lot of stuff. And they just don't want to do that. They can't do that because they don't know what to think about it. I believe they know Bigfoot exists. I just think they do. And it's all going to come out, though. It will be out. And then probably the next year or so, I think.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it will be. But I don't know. I don't know about the alien business. I don't know about that so much.
We don't know. None of us know,
Yeah.
but I think they will be too, because too many people are seeing them. They can't hide it any longer. That's why Roswell came out. That's why all those people are coming forth and exposing that the aliens have been here. They're here now. They've been doing things, and that falls right into my theory of the Anunnaki and who they are and what they're doing. Everybody wants this planet. It's got everything we got, everything we want. I mean, it's been given to us to take care of, and we don't take care of it very well. But aliens are concerned about that because they'd like to be here too. It's got water. It's got everything for life.
We've got another question. Do you feel love and protection towards the Sasquatch people?
I don't know that I'd call it love. I feel like I'm compassionate for them. I don't know. Depends on what their agenda is and what they're trying to do. I care about what happened to us up there at the camp. And I'm glad that something was protecting us, because I think some of the sounds that people hear from the recorders we have were very aggressive, and they could have eaten us if they'd wanted to, if that's what their agenda was. But protective, they don't need our protection. They need our empathy. And they are here. I think some can help us if we learn to tune into them, and they tune into us. And I tell people, just listen to your heart. And your heart's going to tell you what to do, not your brain. Your brain's going to override it unless you get in coherence with it. Through meditation, go back and forth to all this stuff all the time, but kind of important.
Got another quick question. Have you seen, or do you, or do you think Sasquatch and Dogman people interact?
Well, I've heard they do. I'm with Gerald Denton in Tennessee, and I've been in the Land of Lake, and they swear up and down they've seen them both at the same time. They do interact together. I've never known that to happen out here, but that doesn't mean it doesn't. It's just that I haven't witnessed it. They supposedly have witnessed it, and that's interesting because dogmen a lot of them are very aggressive back there, and yet I've heard of people up in Canada who say they go to where the dogmen are and they're not aggressive at all, very friendly. But and you got some geneticists, a geneticist that I know of right now who's doing DNA on the dogman, and it's got the mitochondrial DNA, which is the feminine side, as human too, just like the Bigfoot. So if they're being genetically engineered, you just don't know what the agenda is. And that's what you got to watch for. I caution people, just keep your flag up. Just know who you are as a human. Know how special you are as a human and what you're designed to be for. We're all designed to be for something very special. And I think we got to know that. And don't feel it, but know it. Yeah.
No, quite right. That's right. We are very special. We are. Ready Steady Retro said, have you seen the Sasquatch in shimmering form? I think what she means by that is you've heard of
Predator.
Matthew Johnson.
Yeah, I know Matthew.
And Janu, and they say they can see these Janu in a shimmering form, invisible, just shimmering. Have you ever seen that?
I have not, but I haven't looked for that either so much. I know people very close to me, some of them who have seen that, and I believe them. I think it's when they going out of our density or in from another density into ours, one or the other. That's when they are seen that way. It's called the predator effect. I've had a lot of people tell me that's what they look like when they disappear. That they're going out of our fourth dimension into the fifth or somewhere else. So I have not witnessed that myself, but I have no doubt I've heard it too many times to not believe there's something to it, especially from someone very close to me who saw this very thing.
Okay, right. Have you ever been to Camp Janu or anywhere like that?
You mean where Matthew Johnson was?
Yeah.
I went up there with Matthew Johnson one time. Yeah, me and another person.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, because he saw a portal, didn't he?
Strange things happen up there. I believe Matthew believes. I didn't witness what he was witnessing. I just went to sleep. But something messed with my feet that night. There's some strange things going on up there.
Yeah. I'd like to go. I'd really like to go. Just have a look. Yeah. Ready Steady Retro said, have you ever had any of the alphabet agencies contact you or warn you? Alphabet agency, I guess, like kind of like black ops agencies, maybe, kind of shadow.
No, I haven't. I'm surprised because maybe they're just not that close. They probably just want me to keep going on. Maybe people start laughing at me to take me seriously. Maybe they're doing that now. I don't know.
No. We love you. We love you. Honestly, you most down to earth, really most down to earth guy. And that's the fascinating thing. It's the most person as yourself, Ron, most down to earth, who has the most extraordinary experience and experiences since. I'm sure you've had that you probably haven't spoken, but I'm sure you've had experiences of, let's say, unusual since. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that you have. But that's to have a look at, people, in the book. I'm going to bring the books up again. Okay. That's not to talk about here. That is to have a little read in these books. This is the second edition, the Quantum Bigfoot. Okay. This is what Ron was talking about. That looks quite good. All of these are available on your website and on Amazon, aren't they?
Yes, they're downloadable, or you can get the paperback one. And I have 2 CDs also, which are downloadable. And I have an audio book that should be on the website within a week or so. So that'll be
Okay.
available.
What was the hardest book to write, Ron?
Quantum Bigfoot.
Was it?
Well, I had to do a lot of homework. You know, my first book, Voices in the Wilderness, it was my chronicle, so it was easy to write. It's just my life, you know, what I went through, and it comes from the download of these sounds too. You can hear some of the sounds that I recorded. The context is there. And that's the one the documentary's being made on now, and that's the one the audiobook is coming out with. The Quantum Bigfoot, though, I had to delve into quantum physics and really try to understand it and say it the best way I could in a book, in layman's form, to get that out. So it took me a while to get that. This last one, though, I never thought I was going to write another one after Quantum Bigfoot, but I went ahead because there's some other questions about AI, about trees and things like that I put in this Bigfoot Unveiled book, the last one. I just came out of that last year. And so anyway, I saw all these paperback, print on demand. They can be delivered right to your door there in the UK or anywhere. And so it's I'm glad I've had the opportunity to do that. I'm glad to be on your program for this stuff.
Oh no, thank you. You know, it's been great having you on. Really has been great having you on. I appreciate it so much because, you know, I'm not the easiest person to talk to. I know. I kind of like I have an idea of it, you know, so like have questions in mind, but then I go off on a tangent, don't I? Really?
Oh, I do the same thing. So I like to think that's a form of intelligence. I like to think that.
You know. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, Roxy, admin said, thank you, Ron, for sharing your experiences. Yeah, that's quite right. We'd all thank him, honestly, we do. And, you know, we can't wait. We cannot wait really until you come on again. That'd be lovely. You know, and maybe we can take a bit more of a deeper dive into consciousness and things, maybe.
Well, I'm supposed to go on another filming here in another month or so, and back east, so we'll see how that turns out. If it's a true film like they say it's going to be, it's supposed to be good funding for it and all that, so that'd be fun. Yeah.
I'll take my hat off to you. Honestly, you know, your energy levels are just sky. I don't know what you're taking, but I wish I had some of it. You got some
vitamins. Just vitamins. I try to eat right. I try to eat non-GMO, and you know, you got to eat right to keep your pineal gland decalcified. Working at it. Then I can turn water into wine and walk on water.
Water in the water. Well, yeah, I know you're still working on that water into wine. Yeah. Ready Steady Retro said, can you tell Martin Groves how amazing his show is so he could come on too, please? Yeah.
Martin Groves is a good friend. I just talked to him last night. Now I was on a podcast last night that he was tuned into. Daryl Denton and I. He's part of my part of the group I'm with back when I go back east.
Because you're doing a documentary, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing documentary. How's that? When do you reckon it's going to start filming?
Hopefully, that's the one I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Next month or two, May maybe, or March. I mean, at the latest March, because that's my criteria. I want to do it before, February or March.
Okay.
I can't talk too much about that because I don't want to spill the beans, but I don't think I've told everybody, you know, you don't want to tell people where this is or when it's going to be or anything like that, because you don't get it followed in there. It just discredits everything when people know. So,
yeah. Well, I've been spreading it. I've got into trouble. I spread so much. Facebook slapped my hand, and they said, no, you've been spreading so much. Then they've kind of like capped me at the moment until next Friday. But I've been spreading it all about, you know, with Ethan, and you know, all the stuff when he puts it up, I always tag it and go along and sort of put it up onto other pages and stuff like that, just to get the word out, really.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Ready Steady Retro said, this is an amazing honor to be listening to you here and answering your questions. You are truly appreciated by the UK believers. Thank you, and sorry for the questions. Dream come true. Oh, bless her.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we all agree with that. Thank you very much for coming on. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Ron. Take care.
Okay, you too.
All right. Bye-bye. That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I know. What a lovely guy. What a lovely guy. Well, I better wrap up now, Nat. You take care.
Right.
Right, people at home, I'm going to wrap it. All right. Take care. Thank you for listening. We are so lucky. Brilliant. Right. Okay. Catch you soon.